Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice of radio, so today we are going to take a closer look at a Pokemon card that I discounted a bit too quickly the first time I looked at it. We are looking at Mandibuzz BREAK. Now, Mandibuzz is a Pokemon that has not had a huge amount of love in the Pokemon trading card game. We have rarely seen it be played. We haven't seen a particularly good Mandibuzz yet. Now, as it is a break Pokemon, it needs to evolve from a Mandibuzz. We have a Mandibuzz, only the one, mind you, but we do have a Mandibuzz at the moment. It came out in the Fates Collide expansion. It is fine. It's not particularly good, it's not particularly terrible. Now, it's a stage 1, 110 HP is about average. 1 retreat is alright. Now, in terms of the attack, Dark Double Colourless, 80 damage. I mean, I suppose we could compare this to Umbreon EX that does 70. For free energy, the same energy cost, although Umbreon does take 4 prizes off a Mega EX, so reasons to play the Umbreon. But I do quite like the first attack, Bone Drop. Now, 60 damage for 1 energy sniping is pretty gosh darn good. The problem with Mandibuzz is it can only be done to a Pokemon with an ability. So, take the new Rattata from Evolutions, you can snipe these off the bench all day long, life is good. But if you want to snipe something like a Froakie or a Gibble or something of that nature, then you're not going to be able to. An interesting attack with some situational usefulness, but not amazing. Now, the fact that Mandibuzz is dark is quite good in Expanded, because Trevenant Break is ruling Expanded at the moment. There'll be a video on him in a couple of days, or if you're not watching this as soon as it goes up, it should already be there. And he's weak to dark, so this is pretty good. And the good news is that Trevenant does have an ability, so Bone Drop for 1 energy does 120 to a Trevenant, and of course Trevenant having 110 HP and a weakness to dark does mean that you will get a 1-hit KO on this Trevenant. Life is good. If he's on the bench, you can still do 60, but you don't get to hit for weakness. Now, the downside is, of course, that fairy Pokemon like Mega Gardevoir and Xerneas are quite big at the moment, and they resist dark. Now, in terms of the weakness, lightning is pretty good. There aren't many good electric decks around at the moment. And the resistance to fighting is always good. Resistance is good, although my old friend Zeb Striker comes along here and will make very, very short work. So that's the Mandibuzz, it's okay. What about the break? Well, first of all, he got to 140 HP. This is essentially a stage 2, a break evolved basic. And if we compare it to Pokemon like Greninja and Garchomp, 140, slightly above average. So that's all right. Now, as with all breaks, we have 1 attack or ability. Here we have an attack. 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's pretty cool. I mean, if we look at something like Trevenant Break, which we've all seen is very, very good, that does 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Although it drops damage counters, so Trevenant goes through Mr. Mime. Mandibuzz does not. Now, it is also for a single energy here, which is quite nice. Trevenant is a single energy when you've got Dimension Valley out. 1 energy, 20 to everything is a good attack. Now, if you do something like play Lysander to drag your opponent's Hooper into the active and then start doing 20 to everything, that could be kind of fun if your opponent's unable to get the Hooper out of the active. But it's the second part of the attack that we really like. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness and resistance. That's actually quite good, because although it means you don't get to hit Trevenant for the extra damage, it means the resistance from Gardevoir, Xerneas, etc. just goes away. But discard all Pokemon tools attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon. You get to clear all the tools off your opponent's side of the field in one go. And this does several things. First of all, you can get rid of tools off of Garbodor, so his ability blocking all of your abilities goes away straight away. Secondly, it'll get rid of Fighting Fury Belt, which is huge in the Pokemon trading card game at the moment, makes these numbers more difficult to hit. It gets rid of Float Stone, stopping your opponent having free retreaters. And of course, if you do drag a Hooper into the active and then use this attack to start spreading damage, even if they've got a Float Stone on the Hooper, it gets taken off with this attack. Sometimes you can also get rid of Spirit Links, those tools that mean that your opponent can Mega Evolve without ending their turn, but often your opponent will do all their Mega Evolving in the first turn or two, and you won't be able to get rid of the Spirit Links fast enough to really do anything good. Now, in terms of getting rid of tools, in the standard format, we don't have very much at the moment. We lost Tool Scrapper, we lost Startling Megaphone, we lost Zerosic. We have two options at the moment, neither of them are perfect. Now, we have got the Rattata from Evolutions that gets rid of all tools attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is very good, but it's teching in a 30 HP basic Pokemon, which means that Shaman can get a KO with Sky Return, for instance. And, of course, it's only getting rid of the ones from the basic. This is not perfect. Now, we also have Beedrill EX, who can be quite cool here. The problem is that although he can get rid of tools from two of your opponent's Pokemon, which is nice, which is handy, and he does it for 1 energy, and he's a basic, he's an EX. He gives up 2 prizes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me some Beedrill EX. But you really want to tech in a 2-prize Pokemon and use an attack just to get rid of your opponent's Pokemon tools? I don't think you do. Mandibuzz gets rid of all of them, benched and active, and he does it all for a single energy, and he or she, don't know the gender, Pokemon come in both genders, gets to spread damage while he or she does so. Now, this is a pretty good attack, but here's the deal with Mandibuzz. Here's what it comes down to. This attack is awesome, but it's on basically a Stage 2 Pokemon. If you want to play Mandibuzz, you've got to play at least 1 Vullaby, 1 Mandibuzz, 1 Mandibuzz Break. That means 3 cards in your deck. And you've got to hope one of them is not prized. That is a lot of space to put in your deck just for a tech. And 20 damage for sniping, spreading around, it is not enough, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why Mandibuzz Break is a fun Pokemon, but not a game-breaking Pokemon. Really good as a tech, but takes up too much room and too weak to build a deck around on its own. But still a fun Pokemon to have a conversation about. If you want to carry on the conversation, that's what the comment section is there for. Click that like button, click that subscribe button, follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, click the thumbnail on the screen to watch another one of my wonderful videos. It will make me very happy. And of course, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.